Wrestling isn't just a passion, it's literally my future. Like, everything about it is my life. I love this ring. I was born to be in this ring. This is my heart, this is my soul, and this is my blood. But unfortunately, due to neck injuries, I can no longer perform as an in-ring competitor. I'm back. AEW is officially my house. Unfortunately for Britt, I'm 100% cleared.
Made her return to the ring.
I will create change in this division.
Looking for the second in a row.
This will always be my house.
Welcome everyone to Ring the Bell. This is DS.
And the Sriracha Muchacha, Paloma Star.
And we are here for the AEW Full Gear Review. Yes! 3 women's matches.
I know, it's so awesome and crazy. Like, first of all, I didn't know there was that many women's matches.
And 3 matches with actual builds.
What? Gasp.
AEW with the whole Saraya coming in, they were like, we're gonna bring a revolution here. The build has been pretty good, I'll have to say. But let's talk about the matches.
Let's do it.
This is where they prove that they're gonna deliver. So starting with the TBS Championship, Jade Cargill versus Nyla Rose. Nyla Rose is the quotation mark TBS champion.
I love how they even like include it in quotations. I really love any storyline that has a lot of like things you could do with it. Like if you steal a belt, steal somebody's jacket, hello. Or anything like that. You could do so much. Promos, vignettes, anything leading up to it. So I think this was a really creative way to keep on pushing that storyline without becoming stale.
Jade Cargill undefeated reign, which is, it's okay.
Yeah.
We can buy it, but it's getting stale, you know?
Yeah.
She's just defeating everyone. I think it was a really great way to like kind of change things up a little bit.
And actually, I think that's her personality. It fit her so well. Like, she played this role so good. I mean, she's, like, naturally hilarious.
Yeah.
But she does it in this really great, like, heel way where you're like, no, it's funny, but also you like boo her because she's a heel.
So if you've seen Nyla Rose on Twitter, she's like the most hilarious.
Oh my gosh, she's such a good follow. Follow her while you can.
Funniest Twitter wrestler ever.
For sure.
So Nyla Rose on AEW mostly she was just a monster heel,
Yes.
right? She was a monster heel. She got power. She's a monster heel default. But they finally let Nyla Rose do Nyla Rose.
Yes.
Just being hilarious.
I know.
And it was so amazing to see her do that.
This just shows that if wrestling companies just give their wrestlers a little bit more creative freedom, it actually works so well. I mean, look at Nyla. I don't think a lot of people would be able to pull this off as good as her, but I'm glad she was able to.
So let's talk about Jade's look here.
Yes.
So last time she was She-Hulk, which is a Disney IP, so I think she got in a little bit of trouble with the whole Warner Brother HBO like situation. On Twitter, she was like, looking for a new look. No Disney! Only Warner Brothers, so I think she got in trouble. So she came up with this. Did you know what it is?
No. I was hoping that you did. I was literally watching and I was like, hopefully DS knows what this is.
Okay,
because I don't.
Let me pull it up. Chitara of Thunder Kitty. Thunder Kitty?
Thunder Kitty? Thundercats.
Thundercats, okay. Didn't know what it was, but she looked absolutely amazing.
I think, okay, honestly, Jade could wear whatever she wants and she will look like an absolute $1,000,000. Like, oh my gosh, this girl looks absolutely incredible.
So, I mean, a lot of wrestlers like doing like this inspired look. Where does it become a costume and where does it become inspired look?
Ooh, that's a good question. I feel like that's like a drag race question. I feel like we're the panel of judges and stuff.
I think this one was maybe more on the costume territory.
It looked a little crafty.
And it did not help that the stick that she broke before she actually broke it.
Like, she's just so strong.
But I love it. I love talking about her costume because she's having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So this match, for the first time, we saw Jade Cargill play an underdog.
I know, which was weird. At first I was like, wait a minute, I'm like, what is this look and feel so different. And I was like, wow, Jade is actually, like you said, playing an underdog. Makes sense. It was a good, solid match. I actually really liked the way that it was set up and the outline of it, because I feel like this is how I would set up my match. So I was like, oh, hey, I kind of like resonated with that. But I love how it started off hot. I loved how as soon as it came out, I don't know if it was she hit Layla or Kiera with the belt, but I think that like basically set the tone for the whole match.
Yeah.
And it made sense, because why wouldn't she? If she like stole the belt and she's the champion, like why wouldn't you start it off hot like that? But I think they had really good moments of like peaks and valleys, because while they started off hot, they still were able to kind of bring it down and go back up too. Also, I really love how she teased her pump handle kick, because Jade is obviously very known for that, and I love that it was teased throughout the match as opposed to just Jade hitting it once and going for it for the first time and hitting and then like be done. I think this was a very evenly matched, because sometimes whenever Jade wrestles anybody, it's almost like, look at them, it's very predictable who's gonna win. So I think this was a very evenly matched. I enjoyed it. I really liked it.
I actually ended up liking it at the end, but during the middle part when like Jade was playing underdog, I don't know, for me something just didn't click. It was just like weird seeing her as an underdog, and this is her first time playing underdog. It just, I feel like it didn't gel really best. When Nyla was putting Jade Cargill on top rope, she was so tall that she like didn't even hang on there, so like Nyla had to be like, wait a minute.
Like, this is not working.
There were a couple awkward parts.
It's really hard to, when you wrestle a super tall person, you're like, oh wow, this is not working out how I thought. I definitely have been in those positions before.
But ultimately, I think this match got really hot at the end, where they started exchanging power moves.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of times there's always a very like powerhouse and like the smaller person, or like a powerhouse and like a high flyer. Yeah. I think this was a battle of the powerhouses, and they both showcased their strength really well. I do see what you mean about the little awkward stuff, but I think that's also not only their style similar, but I think the inexperience of Jade. But I think this just shows that Jade is improving each time that I do see her wrestle, and it's kind of hard for whenever she, in my opinion, when she wrestles other people, I think sometimes she almost leads the match, but I think she needs to have more matches where she's being led to have her have more experiences. There's definitely still way more potential, but I enjoyed it. I like the hard hitting of it.
One thing I was kind of disappointed, Nyla Rose is so funny. Yeah. Like, she's so funny outside of the ring. I'm kind of surprised that she doesn't bring that in the ring too, kind of having that goofy side of her.
And I think maybe it's because she's like, goes back to being the monster heel. She's been this big monster heel for so long, maybe she doesn't really know when to insert it yet. But I do agree. I think it would bring so much more depth to her character, because she's obviously very naturally funny. I mean, even in like vignettes and everything she's doing.
Yeah. I mean, I wish she did a little bit more of that character moment during the match, like how Jamie Hayter did with the whole referee thing.
Very true.
Amazing. So just a little bit more. This left me wanting more from them.
Which is what they're supposed to do. Say, hey, it works out. Right. So does that mean it's no longer champion?
I guess not. Sass. End of an era. The bar is not very high. But
I know, unfortunately.
But my favorite women's storyline we've had.
For sure. It's been, because it was fun. It was creative. I was here for it. I want to see more Nyla Rose be super fun and creative in storylines.
Did you notice that Vicky was wearing "I'm Your Mommy" t-shirt?
No. I did not know.
Did she get that from WWE.com?
Right? And expedited shipping.
I mean, it is her IP.
Yes.
That Rhea's using.
That is very true. So I wonder if she did that on purpose. She totally did that on purpose.
She's like, this is my shirt. And if you notice my Vince's
amazing
Vince's Devil t-shirt, you can find this right down here on the store. And if you haven't seen the reason I'm wearing this, the Victoria interview that we did.
So good. I watched it while I was doing cardio because Dia suggested it to me and I did. Every time you like interview Victoria, I feel like I just fall in love with her even more, like if that was even possible. But it's so good. After this video, stop what you're doing and go watch that interview because it's such a creative interview too. Who else is giving you this content that DS and Ring the Bell does. So definitely check out the interview because it's so good.
So let's go to the second match, and it is highly anticipated. We've been waiting this for half a decade.
Like literally way more than that.
5 years. Wow. Saraya Paige is back, and she's facing the top bitch of AEW, DMD, Britt Baker.
I know. I love seeing, by the way, I guess I was putting the wrong accent on Saraya. I thought it was Saraya, not Saraya. So I've been saying it wrong the whole time, I guess. Because that's what the commentary was saying. I was like, oh, I guess.
Apparently, the commentators did not know she was coming out, so they didn't know how to properly pronounce it. Yeah.
That makes sense. And I was like, am I the one saying it wrong? I'm so sorry. But I really love seeing just her raw emotion on her face when she came out to the crowd and like not being able to wrestle for 5 years and just coming out and just knowing that you're about to wrestle. It was like very touching, and I really felt that, and it was awesome. She was able to have that moment, and I was not gonna lie, a little scared because I was like, maybe she wasn't cleared for a reason. I mean, the last thing that I want her to do is like take a bad bump and something goes wrong, God forbid, or anything like that. But right. I was a little bit worried, and I knew they would have to work the neck. Yeah. It makes sense.
I mean, they played off of that. Yeah. Like the first bump that Saraya did, I was like, oh.
Yeah. I was like, oh.
In a lot of the interviews leading up to this match, she was like, I'm not gonna take a lot of bump. I'm not gonna be a bump monkey. But the first bump, I was like, ooh, girl, look at it. And she like kind of played into it.
Yeah.
She got me. From there though, that neck breaker to the outside.
Oh my gosh. I know, especially when she like landed all weird and she just wasn't moving. I was like, oh no. But hey, she's a great worker and it got me.
She didn't hold back.
No, at all. And I felt like there was no like real like ring rust. She was definitely selling it. I really enjoyed these two together, which I never thought I would really see or want to see that pairing. I think they worked really well together.
Obviously, storyline wise too, Britt loves jabbing on like WWE stuff, real life stuff, so it obviously worked. In this match, Britt brought that kind of brutal like she's gonna like you upside dentist she is. So she really went for that neck. I was on the edge of my seat.
Me too, the whole time. I really liked how she even made it even more personal by beating her up in front of her brother too. But I almost thought like, what's her brother gonna do? It's not like he could just like slap Britt Baker and stuff. Because I feel like so many times when there's like ringside involvement of like people in the crowd, like there's always like a payoff for that. Mm-hmm. So I was wondering if there was gonna be a payoff for that, but I think it was just like to pull at our emotional strings even more. The back and forth of this was really good. Fast forward to the finish real quick. I loved how she had to hit her finish twice.
Rampage?
Yeah.
They're looking for the AEW name.
Yes.
I think she named the Page Turner Nightcap, which I really like. I know we're going to call it Rampage.
Yes.
She had to hit it twice.
Yes, twice.
Yeah.
Deliberate that they did that to make sure that Britt Baker stayed down and then be like, oh, look how good Britt Baker is. I have to hit her with my finish twice to do this. But also Britt Baker came out later on in the show. But hey, I was kind of like, what?
By the way, I want to talk about Paige's gear a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Because she was wearing her, like, all black one. It brought me memories of her, like, NXT days.
Yeah, I literally thought that, too, as soon as she walked out. That's exactly what I thought. I wanted to do my best British accent of, this is my house, but I can't at all.
That was not British at all.
I know, that's why I said I can't. I don't even know how to, like, this is
my house. Definitely brought that memories of her NXT day, which I really liked. And it was really hot, actually.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was still her very Paige-like, but almost elevated for it too.
Just sexy up.
It was. And Britt Baker always looks good. I feel like Britt Baker can do no wrong because I think she found the gear that works for her. But I think what elevates it for Britt Baker is her jackets. And I love that she always has a cute little matching glove to do her little lockjaw.
I am rusty. It's been 5 years and I try to give 110%, and I feel like I did do that. I gave as much as I could. I had to work out a lot and I'm going to continue to do so.
So you didn't think there was a ring rust?
I don't think so. No, I think maybe a little bit here and there, but not enough where if I took 5 years off and then came back. I mean, I took 6 months off and I came back to the ring and I was blown up. So crazy. I'm sure you could see it. But like with her, like taking 5 years off and just coming in and having such a high quality, high caliber match. A few spots here and there, but like the selling was definitely on point. And I think that's really what really like solidified the match, especially because the storyline with her neck was the selling. Because I think if her selling wasn't on point, I don't think this match would have delivered as high as it did, both the storyline and match.
I don't know what I expected, to be honest, because it's, again, like 5 years and she just got clear, like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like, so AEW and Tony Khan did not know if she could actually wrestle or not. So that was like the whole like weird situation, why it was kind of weird since she joined AEW. Yeah. So I was very nervous about it, but I think it told a really good story focusing on the neck. It did not hold back with selling some of the like more gnarly stuff. So I was very pleasantly happy about it.
Me too. I really thought she was gonna almost like ease back into it,
Right.
because I think I would want to be like, I don't know, but she just went for it.
Yeah.
It paid off. That one spot that she did where she like power bombed Britt over from the corner, that was a little bit brutal. I would definitely like cringe on that one because it seemed a little bit stiff and not as smooth, but like it looked brutal. So I guess it did what it was supposed to do.
Were you surprised that the crowd was kind of split?
Yes, I was. And it was very weird because at one point they started chanting, "This is awesome." And I heard people start chanting, "No, it's not."
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's very awkward and weird when I heard people say, would start chanting, "This is awesome." And a couple of them said, "No, it's not." I'm like,
That was weird.
What?
I did not catch that. I have to talk about this. So on Wednesday, Britt Baker cut this really heartfelt promo where she talked about how Saraya is this like invader from outside, and she's the one that like built this house, which is AEW. She was the one that was wrestling throughout this pandemic.
We kept the fire of professional wrestling burning in the darkest of times, and that's an era you'll never know.
Which was a great promo for a face.
Exactly.
Which I think ultimately kind of backfired on this program because a lot of people were on the side of Britt Baker.
yeah. And it makes sense. Like, if you hear that promo, you're like, oh, she's right. Even if you weren't a regular AEW watcher and you saw that promo, you're like, oh, okay, Britt Baker's like the good guy here. Because, like, who would want somebody invading your house that, you know, that you worked so hard to build?
I think the program should have been focused more on Saraya's like triumphant comeback.
Yeah, okay.
She's a good heel. She could be
she
villainous.
really is.
She could be an evil bitch if she wants to. So I was kind of surprised that she took this different route, which I had some issues with. You know, I love Britt Baker. I think she's a great promo. I don't know if it's her. Someone's making decisions for Britt Baker that seems like it's for the business for herself.
Oh, I see. As opposed to the betterment of the product in general or the women's division.
For this huge program, which is Saraya coming out of retirement after 5 years. That's the bigger story here, but I think it got a little muddled.
I could definitely see that. That's a good point.
That's why a lot of the Saraya fans were complaining, like, oh, she should have just gone to WWE. She would have gotten a lot bigger pop. Which she did. I think after she won, I think people were like,
yeah, kind of like the pause, like, okay, now we get here.
Am I saying that because I'm a Saraya fan?
Probably.
Okay. Not that every feud needs like very clear face and heel dynamic, but I feel like this could have benefited from it.
Especially because Britt Baker's such a good heel.
Yeah.
She's such a good heel, almost to the point where if she would have still cut that promo on Wednesday, but ended it in like a really like bitchy heel way, you know how like people, like especially heels are like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, you're a little bitch.
And it's telling that the video that they played right before the match had none of Britt Baker's parts.
I noticed that. I definitely noticed that part for sure.
But anyway, so happy for Saraya. What's next for her?
Ooh, I don't know. That's a good question.
Going straight for the title?
I don't know.
I want to see her work with someone that can base her a little more. Like, so maybe Athena, who just turned heel.
Okay.
I mean, Serena Deep.
Oh, that would be a really good match.
Or Mercedes Martinez, I think. Those could be a really good one for her, I think.
Totally. Those are all solid picks for sure. But I do wonder where she goes from here. And I wonder how often she's going to be used from here on out. Like, I feel like they don't use everybody on a weekly basis. So I'm going to see if they're going to do the same thing with her or how she ends up. So I always feel like we always get super excited for this new people who are in AEW. And then they, like, have a really good match. And then they just kind of, like, fade to the background. So I just hope that doesn't happen to her.
Let's go to the third match. It is the interim AEW Women's Championship match. Toni Storm versus Jamie Hayter. This was so good.
I really enjoyed it. And this was a completely different style of match that we had from the previous two matches. It definitely felt like a big fight feel. I mean, it was, obviously. But it definitely felt like it, too. Just like the promos, how there were the standing, how the crowd even reacted to it. Like, the reaction on the women's faces were really good. Like, I was like, okay, let's go.
And the crowd was going crazy.
So crazy.
For Jamie Hayter.
Yeah.
And I love that AEW like really capitalized on Jamie Hayter because this was a moment.
It was.
Because people were like really going crazy for Jamie Hayter, which I'm really surprised about because she was just like Britt Baker's left arm or right arm, whatever. Whatever you use mower, I use left for some stuff. But Jamie Hayter was supposed to be just a goon, but people started freaking loving her. And at that all-out match where she had the little like tension with Britt Baker, people started going crazy for her.
So crazy.
And here, people are full-fledged Jamie Hayter fan. so am I.
I do agree that she was definitely more of a background player because everybody has their roles and those roles are needed, but she definitely elevated. And I think it's kind of hard to do that when you're standing next to Britt Baker. The fact that she was able to kind of like pull out and stand off for herself and like kind of have her own little moment, it says so much about her. And can we just acknowledge both of their gears were super awesome, very like awesome. Japanese inspired in my opinion. And then Toni Storm was with her half and half. I was like, hey, maybe I could do a half and half here because it matches my hair.
Yeah.
But also do appreciate that this was just like the match of the greatest peaches. Girls, like both of them were like, I'm sure like wrestling with the plot is going wild right now.
And then Toni definitely used assets to the max.
Yes, for sure.
I'm glad that she brought it back.
Me too.
She got a little too serious after becoming champion. She was like, I'm a champion now. I don't tap my ass anymore. But she did because nobody was cheering for her. So she was like, let's cheer for me.
Yay! But
I love this spot where she was going to do the hip attack. But then Jamie Hayter like...
and then there she goes.
So good. What stood out to you in this match?
How hard they were hitting each other. Oh my gosh. That was one part where they were like just exchanging blows in the middle of the ring. And like Toni Storm just slapped the shit out of Jamie. I was like, oh my gosh. It was so like brutal. Like they were not holding back. And you could tell, I liked how the commentator was like, oh, they lived together during the pandemic. They had to share food. I'm like, okay, that's weird, but whatever. You could tell that these two are friends. Yeah. Because when you wrestle your friends, you hit your friends harder because you know that they can take it and you bring out the best in each other. And this is one of those matches that I think they really truly brought the best of each other. They were hitting each other so hard and I loved it.
Like I thought Saraya was being hit hard. They were like, boom, boom. Yep. All the moves are so crisp, so intense. I was in love.
This was a very Japanese style, Joshi style type of wrestling. Right. And because they're both of them had very extensive careers in Japan and Stardom. And I think they brought this to almost the AEW style mixed in with it too.
The part that I was crazy about was when they started punching each other, and then Toni Storm started bleeding.
I know.
And then she did the headbutt and just fell on top of Jamie. Since then, she was just bloody.
I'm telling you, this is what I said last review too, is when you have blood, it just makes you look so much cooler. It does, It really does. I think that's what got me over when I won the Samuel J. Thompson Memorial Tournament here. This is literally what brought me to Chicago, is I won that tournament, and I think it really helped out and put me over with the crowd that I got a busted nose because I got clotheslined in the face, and then the rest of the match I was just like, bleeding, so it made me look cool. It just adds a whole different not only realism, but they just look badass. Like I'm not saying all women should go and get busted open in matches, but this kind of worked with the storyline that they were telling and the story that they were telling in the ring, because they were just hitting each other so bad and those headbutts and everything. Just of course there should be blood. Like if we're talking this in kayfabe, if somebody goes up to somebody and just punches or headbutts somebody, you would bleed. So I'm kind of glad it happened. It just added so much more to an already good match.
Yeah, I love Jamie Hayter interacting with referee, all her taunts. It was all she's just really, really good. Those are the stuff that really won over crowd. Those little stuff that built into this big moment. I loved all the interference from Reba, Rebel with the title, and then she got ejected. And Britt Baker, I really thought she was going to cost the match.
Yeah, I thought so too. I love the interferences, but also, how many times can you hit Toni Storm in the head and her still kick out? Jeez.
I loved it though. She was keep coming up, and I was like, yes, Toni Storm.
No, it was so unrealistic. Okay, I get it. Come on, you get hit in the head with the. Oh my gosh, I was just like.
Finally, she picks up the win with a huge, crazy Haterade?
Yeah, that's what her lariat is called, which I think is absolutely amazing. A Haterade?
I gotta tell you something though. I hated Haterade until this match. I thought it was the stupidest clothesline finisher. I hated it.
Now you're drinking all the Haterade.
I know. Now I'm totally into the Hater Kool-Aid. In this match, Toni Storm hit it once. It was damn, she hit it better than Hayter. But then Hayter hit it on Toni Storm, and I was like, okay, fine. I see why this is a finisher now.
I just cannot get over how many times Toni Storm got hit in the head.
You don't like false finishes?
I do, but now you're getting hit in the head with the belt and getting Oh my gosh. I love false finishes, especially with a big match like this.
Okay.
Definitely needed. But they should really have to get hit in the head so many times.
I don't know. I was gagging.
Let me hit you in the head with the ball.
Don't grab it
Let me grab it. And I really thought the finish was going to be a roll-up because I'm like, what else is the finish going to be? Oh my gosh. I mean, don't get me wrong. I really loved it. It was intense. But come on. It's going to be a roll-up.
The crowd was electric.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
They were so into this match. Shout out to the ref for doing such a good job of like the super like 2 3/4 counts too. But the crowd was living for it. I was too. I was super into it.
Again, I'm so happy for Jamie Hayter. Like, she really deserves this. She's been doing that second fiddle role for a while, but she won over the crowd. I think one of the most organic rise to the popularity.
Yes, especially because I don't think she has like a super clear-cut like gimmick or character or like this is who I am and stuff. Like, it's more her but turned up to like 11, which I think comes off a little bit more authentic. The small things that she does, like the small things that build up her character, kind of the stuff that I kind of wish like Jade would do or like Nyla Rose would do more in the ring. And I think that's what really makes her stand out, is because it's what you do between the moves that I think that matters the most.
Authentic part, I definitely agree, because there's something very likable about her. And then also in her press conference, she was just there chilling, talking about her win. She was like a very likable person. I'm really excited to see maybe Toni Storm round 2 or even Britt Baker program. I think that's
I think so too. I think it should definitely be Britt Baker program, definitely.
But let's talk about elephant in the room. The Mexican elephant in the room. No. Mera. Thunder Rosa is still the actual champion.
Okay, not gonna lie. Why is an interim championship changing hands? I mean, that's so just make it the real championship at this point. Yeah. It is so weird. Like, for me, when I think interim, I think like an interim head coach in football, and they wouldn't change an interim head coach in football. So why would you change an interim championship? Why would that change hands? I mean, I get it. Having the word interim, I think, diminishes the title a little bit. It does. Makes it like, this is weird. So I think they should just say like, hey, Thunder Rosa has 60 days since she hasn't wrestled or is not gonna wrestle, so we're gonna strip her from the title, and this is the official title. But I can see why they're not doing it that too. But they should.
They're obviously doing it as a respect for Thunder Rosa. If you're doing it that way, just stick with it. But Tony Khan at the press conference was like, we're considering it, taking it off of Thunder Rosa.
It's been a few months now, and when we get a better timeline for a return, I'll have to make a decision about whether to continue with the interim or to make the interim champion possibly some kind of an opportunity to become the lineal champion.
But I think Thunder Rosa needs to be, honing her claws. This match, I feel like, is better match than anything I've seen under Thunder Rosa's reign. I honestly think this is one of my favorite women's match in AEW history ever. So Thunder Rosa better be ready.
I agree. It was definitely, because I did love Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker in that brutal death match thing, but also that was like a gimmick match, which I feel like it's a different style, and you can't compare the two. It's like comparing apples to oranges and stuff. But also, this match had everything on it, especially how it started off with chain wrestling, and then it built up from that. And I think that's something we don't necessarily see a lot from a lot of women's matches in general, anywhere where it's actual buildup of chain and then spots and then bigger spots is a really good buildup. I think it's either like spots all the way, kind of like how we saw with Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. This was a very good storytelling in-ring match, and I think almost the women's landscape has changed since Thunder Rosa has been, and I think a lot of more opportunities. I mean, 3 women's matches in AEW. What? The landscape has changed since Thunder Rosa hasn't been there, and maybe for the better. I mean, the matches have been better. There's been more women's matches. I want Thunder Rosa back because I think she's a great luchadora and an awesome representation of Latinas. But also, I hope when she does come back, she could still fit in. Yeah, you know,
she better step it up. Let's talk about Toni Storm a little bit. Even though she was a champion, a lot of people like Athena, Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker, Saraya, they've all been outshining her.
Yes. Agreed. Which is weird because I feel like Toni Storm just like exudes that like rock star cool girl persona. Yeah. There's so much cool badass other women too in the roster too. I just think that Toni Storm thrives in this type of environment better than like a WWE environment. But it's crazy because Toni Storm is so good and is like that cool girl and stuff, but also it's such a high bar that I feel like it for people to be surpassing Toni Storm says a lot about the women's division. Definitely, they're definitely in an uptick for sure.
It is. I just feel like she's a champion, so she's just trying to be generous and letting people shine a little bit. But she showed in this match, this was the best I've seen Toni Storm since like Mae Young Classic days or NXT days. Like, she can deliver ass-kicking match. She's got to deliver this more often.
Agreed, for sure. I don't want to have to be reminded how much of a badass Toni Storm is. I want to see it all the time. And hopefully, because obviously, like you said, she can deliver. And I just hope that AEW has this weird thing where, like, okay, they have these really good matches and they kind of like fade into the background and we don't see them again because they do have so many women or like they're not featured every week. I just hope she's in the position where she can deliver another match like this and it's not like months from now where we talk about her again.
Very, very happy for Jamie Hayter. Very happy for AEW Women's Division in general.
I am not happy about how many times we get hit in the head. Or the fact that interim title changed hands. But for the first time, I think, ever, I'm very optimistic about the women's division in AEW. And to be honest, I don't even know what switched. What was there like a big pep talk and who delivered this pep talk? But I am here for the changes because it's definitely, it seems like that not only is there more, but there's more investment in it because there's now actual build-ups and storylines for multiple women, not just like one. Who knows? Maybe we'll do more AEW reviews if they keep on bringing 3 women matches each pay-per-view. I'm here for it.
What could have changed? Maybe DS interviewed Tony Khan and then things started getting better.
And then he started following you on Twitter.
Started DMing me.
Hi, Tony.
DS Khan coming soon. I'm the Linda McMahon of the.
Oh my god! He's gonna have a whole storyline.
No, just kidding. But I think after like Saraya came in and then all that like changes that happened, I think AEW was like, let's step it up and like it really shows. Thank you so much for joining in for Full Gear AEW review. Paloma, where can we all see you?
You can find me at Paloma Star on Instagram and Twitter. And DS, where can we find you?
You can find me at DS on Instagram and Ring the Bell DS on Twitter. Alright, we'll see you next time. Bye!